Hey, I'm Marigo, and today I'm going to show you how I recreated a beat from BLACKPINK. Let's check it out. So the first thing I did was determine the tempo. I just played the track and used the tap tempo feature in Live. So here in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see your tempo options. There's the tempo where you can just click and type it in, and right next to it, there is a tap button. So if you just click on this, like listening to a track, you just tap, 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 tap along, you'll see the tempo changing. And so as I was tapping along to this track, it sort of settled around 142, and I determined that that was probably the tempo. The first obvious part of this beat to me was that 808 kind of sub sound that happens every other bar. So here we go. This sub sound was happening on bar 1 and bar 3. So I just created a 2-bar loop here. I used my ears just to determine that that pitch is an E, right? The track's in E minor. I just created a note here on E and set this to loop every 2 bars. The sound that I used for this was from the plugin called Sublab. Sublab is pretty cool. It's just all 808 and subby sounds that that are great for like trap music or hip hop. Weirdly, like the first preset was pretty close. Maybe that's what they used in the track. I don't know. It sounded a lot like it. All I did was like adjust, I think, the release a little bit and maybe add the distortion. Might have changed the mixer here a tiny bit, but honestly, I didn't have to do much to get it to sound a lot like the one in the track. So the next thing I tackled was the drum beat. Lots of percussion and fun sounds going on there. We'll focus in on the kick and snare to start. So this beat is using kind of a typical halftime trap style beat. So what does halftime mean? We'll see like a kick on 1 and 3 and a snare on 2 and 4, right? Beat 2 and 4. Like that. At this fast tempo, that sounds like a little bit silly in this style of music. A lot of times what you'll hear is this kind of slowed down to half the time. So we can use these half and double time buttons over here next to our clip and just hit the ×2. And now we'll get something kind of closer to the BLACKPINK song. This second kick rather, is moved over, right, so that it's syncopated a little bit here. So it's more like this. And then if we look at the 4-bar structure, we just have one little difference here. So the second time that the beat repeats here, the kick is a little bit early, which gives us sort of that off-kilter feeling here. So let's play it. But this sample is from the Count. Count has a lot of great drum samples. I think I just pulled this one off Splice. I noticed that in the track when I was listening, the kick has sort of a thuddy hip hop sound, and so I thought maybe the Count samples might work. The snare has kind of a unique clicky sound, so what I ended up doing for that is layering 2 different snare sounds. So a little rim shot, and this kind of like echoey, I don't know, sort of metallic sound. So it doesn't really sound a lot like just a regular drum snare, but here we go. And then lastly, we get our little hi-hat pattern with the hi-hat rolls. I tried to listen and get the pattern as close as I could to what I was hearing in the track. What really makes this beat kind of unique is this crazy like tambourine bell type thing. So let's listen to the track. And it's doing this beat like da 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 da. But I just found a sample again off Splice. That's one I had to search for a bit, and it looks like it was really long actually. And I just shortened it up just by dragging this over. And I also transposed it down 4 semitones so that the pitch of it sounded more like the one in the track. It was a little bit too high pitched. Nice. The last thing I'm hearing from a percussion standpoint is sort of this like woodblock sound, pitch sound there. And it kind of mirrors the like tambourine sound. And I think on the last hit, it went up to a third. So that's why I copy pasted this woodblock sound to another pad. So I've got 2 of them. And on the second one, I just transposed it up 3 semitones. Just for fun, I threw on the distressor, which is a UAD plugin, just to kind of glue everything together and give it some, I don't know, some more saturation there. The only other thing really going on in this beat is that lead line. Used an instrument rack to layer 2 different sounds, right? If this isn't something you know how to do, check it. So pick any sound, drag it onto the track, and you've got your sound here. So to create a rack and layer it with another sound, I'm gonna group the device with Command G, and we'll open up the chain list by hitting this little paragraph looking button here, right? Open up the chain list. And now I can drop any number of instruments in there. And I can adjust how they're blended together just with volume or panning. There's a lot I can do with that. So you can have like endless amounts of instruments in an instrument rack, so you can create really complex sounds. So for this sound, I use Sublab, which is kind of weird because it's not a bass sound. But I liked the sound of the like sine, kind of the sine wave tone I was getting. So I just put it a couple octaves up. And in Sublab, I went down here to the corner and checked out the glide menu. And I just kind of got the settings to where it was gliding the way that I wanted. So with glide, any notes that are overlapping, it will sort of glide the pitch up to the next one or down. So for these 2 notes, for example, right, they're slightly overlapping. So it's gonna slide up from this pitch to this pitch, and it's just gonna follow kind of these parameters. So like, it's gonna take a 30-second note to get there, and it's gonna follow this curve. The other sound, I felt like in the track there was sort of something plucky going on with it. I don't know. I didn't quite get this sound exactly like how it is in their track, which maybe they used a sample. I felt like this helped get the tone a little bit closer. And this was just like a preset I found from Wavetable. I don't even think I really changed it much. I think I took the delay down and maybe just messed with the macros a little bit. In the track, we hear on like the first note and some of the other notes too, it really like scoops into it. Especially that first one, right? And since we're not gliding from a previous note, it's not going to do that on its own. So if we go into envelopes, and then down here, I'm going to select the MIDI control, and I'm going to find the pitch bend option, which is usually the first. And now I can create little pitch bends as if I was using a pitch bend wheel. I didn't record it in with a MIDI controller that had one, so I'm drawing it in. And I just drew in, you know, these automations to be this shape and create a little, to create a little pitch bend into the first note. I also made this one like a little more drastic. Like, let's hear it without it. And then with it. Cool. And then after my instrument rack, right, just these 2 layered sounds, I put on Roar, which is the new saturation device, and also some reverb. So here's without Roar. Right? Giving it that sort of scratchy, distorted quality. I just have it on the digital clip shaper, and I have some drive and the amount turned up there. This is Valhalla Supermassive, so here's without that. And then with it. And then the whole beat. And that's pretty much it. Then we just need some real saucy vocals. If you liked this video, remember to hit like and subscribe. Hopefully you picked up a couple tips checking out the breakdown of that beat. Feel free to toss out some suggestions for other songs where you'd like the beat broken down, and maybe I'll do it. Till next time, happy music making.